Going into our topic of discussion for today, we're looking at agriculture and, of course, the outlook for 2025 for food production in Nigeria. As you know, food inflation as of today is about 39.93% from the last statistics from the National Bureau of Statistics. There, of course, a lot is being done to ensure that there's food sufficiency in Nigeria, but we're yet to get there despite government investment in the last couple of years. We look at that and see what needs to be done and what has been done in 2024 and what needs to be done in 2025 for us to be able to achieve that. I have two gentlemen joining me in the studio. I have Oyeleke Bola. He's the National President, Tomatoes and Orchard Producers Association of Nigeria. He joins me right here in the studio. Good morning, Mr. Oyeleke.
Good morning.
All right.
Good morning, Nigeria.
All right. I also have joining me my colleague, Vincent Yusuf. Is the Daily Trust Agric Correspondent. Good morning, Vincent.
It's a pleasure to be part of your program.
Let me start with you there, Mr. Vincent. You have covered agriculture for a very long time. You are very also an authority in that sector. What should be the priority areas, of course, to drive Nigeria agricultural sector in 2025?
I thank you. Thank you very much. We really need to strengthen our irrigation system if we have to produce enough, okay, to meet the needs of Nigerians. But if we do not look at the irrigation system in this country, we are going to have a lot of problems, because at the end of the day, we are going to have just one season production, which is the rain-fed. And you know, with climate change, flood issues and here and there, what happens if we have massive flood? It would then mean that we have nothing left to feed over 230 million Nigerians. So the only way we can control the elements of production in a way that we can have food sufficiency in the country is for us to strengthen our irrigation facilities across the country. Look, we have huge potential, over 3.1 million hectares for irrigation. With that 3.1 hectare, if we are able to utilize even half of it, we'll be able to generate, after three months, substantial numbers of metric tons of food production added to what we have in the country. That way, we'll be able to, absorb every shock that comes with inadequate food supply in this country. Because, we also have industries that are, small-scale industries that are coming up along Lagos, up the north. But do we have enough to even feed those industries? Well, because usually, the jobs are actually in the processes, in the value chain. But while the value chain activities is growing, the supply chain in terms of raw material to feed those industries are just nowhere. So, and that is the reason why you see that even during harvest, you do not see any substantial drop in the prices of these commodities. Because by the time you are harvesting, almost everybody is in the market trying to buy, to stock. Because they are into maize, someone who is into maize processing, the best time for him to go to the market is when you are harvesting. The people who are into the feed industry, the best time to buy is when people are harvesting. So you will find a situation where everybody is in the market now buying. But if we have a system where every 3 months harvest is going on, and then people wouldn't want to stock their stock, with raw material, because they know that in the next 3 months they're going to. And the only way to do this is to, strengthen the irrigation facility and make sure that during the dry season, like in the period where we are now, a lot of people are in their farms producing. But we need to address the issue of security. Which is part, without which you can't do anything. If we are not able to address the security issue, then we continue, because a lot of people who are supposed to be producing, even in this country, we have a lot of people who are willing to produce. If you go to villages where there are rivers, you find people trying to do irrigation activities around. But insecurity have sent a lot of them packing from those places. They won't be able to do that. And with that problem, it will be very difficult to address food supply.
Indeed, security needs to be tackled. Of course, we also need to take advantage of the presence of so many water bodies like River Nigers and so many other ones across the country. Mr. Oyeleke, let me come to you now. He did mention irrigation as an area for government to pay critical attention to drive food production in 2025. Do you subscribe to that submission?
Yes, I just subscribe to it. It's a very good one because irrigation is one of the challenges the small-scale farmers are facing too. That brings our production just for one season. You look at the dry season, not all farmer goes into the dry season, except most of the farmers that are in the riverine area, they can be able to produce during this time. And again, I would like to add to it that we also look into our seed production too. Our seed research institution and our seed, what kind of seed are we bringing in this year to make sure that we increase our yield. And they talk about security, which is one of the key aspects that I look into before I come down to this program. And I'm looking at it that with the Minister of Livestock should be able to draw a very small short-term medium to solve the problem between the cattle road map and the farmer too. This year we should be able to identify both our cattle, how the Fulani can take in the cattle, the road map that has been existing. We should also look at it, and our farmer too can able to deviate a little bit from those cattle road, that there will be no clash this year. I think we'll be able to look at that. We can look at the Minister of Agric and the new Minister of Livestock. We should also look at it and see how we're going to engage the production and the livestock together before the long-term measure of the livestock reform may come into. I think in the short run, we need to know where the Fulani can take across the cattle to move, and how the farmer too can also produce the food for the public too.
Indeed, it's important we address that it's not only Fulani that rear cattle. Absolutely. Very many Nigerians own cattle, of course. So I think the basic, what I get from what you said is the issue of cattle routes, the issue of farmer header clashes need to be addressed as well. In addressing that, let's also talk about what measure do you think government should put in place to address that? I'm still staying with you, Mr. Oyeleke. We have a new Ministry of Livestock, which, if you look at some other countries, what they are driving, the quantum of livestock contribution to GDP is huge. What should we do to be able to benefit from this very huge industry that appears to be wasting in Nigeria?
Thank you very much. I think that the new minister should look into this issue by calling the elders, the senior elder in the community, and bringing them together, trying to see how we're able to have a good reform. If the old road has been encroached by farming, what next? In developing countries, we still have this Messiah that move the cattle too. You can see them on the bridge, passing around the bridge. You can be driving on the floor, on the road, and you will see cattle moving. There is a route for cattle. We can also navigate another route for them. We can call them, bring them together, navigate new route for them, so that we know that there is a dry season where the cattle need more food too, where the farmer need to plant too. Okay, what will be the solution? What will be the way forward? So I think that the new minister have a lot of work to do in the decks by making sure that this short-term issue can be solved before we are looking at the long-term technology and other stuff. So how can we solve it? The minister needs a lot of work on the decks to bring these people, the Fulani and other people that rear the cattle together, explain to them, looking at the reform, what can we do? If the old roads have been closed by farming, what can we do? How can we navigate? How can we divert them? How can we put them in a safer place for them to belong to? Because once we make them to belong, that they are Nigeria too, everybody will say that, yeah, we are all Nigeria. I think we can also be rearing our cattle, and be farming our production too. And by the end of the day, we are helping the country. That is the one goal that we're looking at.
Very important. Very good one there, Mr. Oyeleke. Mr. Vincent, before we came on here, we're having a conversation with regards to subsidy for food production. Talk about subsidy, how many countries, countries like America, Netherlands, and the rest of them are giving subsidy to farmers and, of course, livestock producers in their various countries. Why is it so difficult for us to be able to get to that point where we can give our subsidy? Even the one we have on the petroleum product has been removed.
Well, thank you very much. I think that is one area that we've not been able to, to fine-tune in this country. How to get subsidy to the real farmers. And most times we create subsidy in a way that allow people who are not real farmers to jump into it. Because if you have a system that allow people who are not farmers, who just have land that have abandoned those land to jump into it, you are not going to have food productions, because some of them will take those subsidies and go to real estate. Some of them will take it and go to other businesses, and they will put it into production. So what do we need to do? We know people who are into the production. Look, these are people that, for instance, if you want to intervene in the poultry industry, for example, there are people who have been in that business for over 10 years, for over 15 years. They know, they have acquired so much knowledge that they know how to grow that business. You don't even need to announce it. You can walk to them. In some climes, that's what they do. They already have the database of these farmers who have been doing something in the sector, and they go to them and say, look, what are you producing? What is the capacity of your farm? If you are producing 10,000 crates, okay, how can we help you to produce 100,000 crates? We don't necessarily have to announce. You can, get such a farmer on board, and before you know it, he can produce up to more than even what you expected, because he's in the industry, he's seeing it as his own business. But if you just announce it, the man who knows someone who is in the CBN who is announcing it, or in the ministry who is announcing it, he will go and talk to the people there, and he will get it. And he may not take it to the farm. Like what we've seen with some of the programs, that's exactly what happened. Whether we like it or not, we must fund this agriculture. Government must fund it very well. We can look, food security is a major national security. In the US, billions of dollars go into that sector. Whether it is livestock, I was going through one of this thing yesterday, and I've seen that over the last decade alone, US have subsidized even the livestock up to $72 billion. That's quite a lot.
That is huge. That's more than a lot of 2 years budget.
And then when you look at the entire sector, they have spent over $400 billion subsidizing that sector. Come home. If you look at our budgets, even this year, you know that we shouldn't expect anything significant. We are talking about over $40 trillion as a budget of the country.
40 trillion naira.
Yes,
which is naira. Less than 30, it's about $35 billion.
Okay. Now, what did Agric get? Less than 400 billion naira.
5%.
So, what can you then do? You have a nation of 230 million people, and you are not treating that sector with special attention. It's a problem. There are certain crops you don't joke with, that you can describe them as national crop. If anything happens to these crops, then you are in trouble. Maize, rice, wheat, and then soybeans. A lot of the value chain activities in the feed, in the food and processing, around these major food crops. So as a country, what are you doing to scale up the production in a way that it will not have a ripple effect in your manufacturing sector, in the feed manufacturing? And that's the reason why the last Christmas, a lot of people couldn't buy chicken. They were selling one chicken as much as 30,000. And if you take it to the market, an average person will not be able to raise 30,000 to buy just one broiler for the Christmas.
All right, Mr. Vincent. Mr. Oyeleke, I know you want to add tomatoes to that crop that he did mention. It's one area that, of course, is also very, very critical there as well. But your members are directly affected by some of the issues that he raised, the lack of subsidy. I mean, there's credit, but farmers cannot get access to all this credit. The political farmers will come through the back doors and take all the money and, of course, take them somewhere, maybe into real estate and so many other areas. How do you think this can be addressed? I know a lot of farmers have been shouting about this for a very long time, but yet government have not really been able to address that issue.
Yeah, thank you very much. For this question, I would say that government need to participate in the business of the day of agriculture. You can put out subsidy, but if you don't participate in the business of agriculture, there will be problem. Why there will be problem is because it's not just dishing out the money out. We've seen it a lot of time that it's not bringing the money out is our problem. But how can government participate? It's only Nigeria that I find out that government don't participate in agriculture. When you're giving out subsidy, how do you give out the subsidy? How effective the Bank of Agric is? Do we need to reform the Bank of Agric? If CBN want to take the challenge, how professionalism that the CBN know more about agriculture, even know more about the small-scale farmer, the people in the development department, how learned are they be, how learned they are when it comes to issue of agriculture, how to be able to dish out this money and how to participate in buying those products and selling it back to the public to subsidize it. So these are channels of seeing how finance can flow and how recovery too can flow. In other developed countries, you find out like Banco Brazil, for example. Like Banco Brazil giving us subsidy for farmer. You have a specific area that you want to farm. You go there. You go to Namadoso after the Porto Alegre. Namadoso is a farming area. You will see Banco Brazil there. If you want to farm, there's tractor there. There's irrigation there, there's land there, there's everything for you there. There's seed company that will provide for you. Just go there, farm, the government buy it. The government
is a direct off-taker.
Yes, government is direct off-taker. Thank you very much. They buy the off-take it, they put it, they give all necessary debt that they need to recover, they recover it, they sell it to the public. Subsidize it. The public now send it to the final consumption. The final consumer demand can buy it at the subsidy area, the subsidy rate. So this is how I think that subsidy is being given in other countries too.
Why is it difficult for us to borrow or learn from some of these countries? I've had so many of our ministers, even the president, visiting all these places to sign a lot of deals, a lot of agreements with all these countries. I'm still staying with you, Mr. Bola. Why is it difficult for us to learn and, of course, bring whatever we learn from there to replicate them in Nigeria?
Because we bring so much things into the business of the day in Nigeria. We bring tribal, we bring religion, we bring friendship, we bring close people, we bring everything together. I think that is why we find it more difficult to really specify, to really be serious, being serious about bringing policy that is going to be right. Because when people find out, just like my colleague said, when people find out that, oh, CBN is giving out serious of money when it comes to, everybody will be lobbying. Because even before the money is being announced, there is no proper China. There is no proper platform for the money to be distributed. Call all the national chairman, the national president. Let them be part of it. Before you even say that, oh, we have so billion for agriculture. Let's deliberate about it. Let's know how this money can be decentralized. Let's know how this money can be distributed to the farmer, down to the local government. Now we have the local government autonomy. We bring them together because we're supposed to be using more of the local government autonomy, yes, than any other agency where we know that we can find out those small-scale farmers. Because we, in statistics, the small-scale farmer produce 80% of what Nigeria is producing. So this is how we should this is how I believe that government can get it right this year. We should all bring the main party, the main player, bringing them together, making sure that we deliberate to them before announcing. We're always quick to announce finance in the public.
Absolutely.
And that is why you find out that people that are not even in agriculture want to have interest.
Interest, indeed. Of course, you did raise that question there, and it made a very, very valid point there. Why is it that government cannot bring together we have a lot of farmers association. We have tomato farmers, which you represent. We have all farmers. We have maize farmers. We have beans farmers. We have onions. All the farmers have association and they have leaders. Why is it difficult for government to bring these associations together? And of course, give out subsidy to their members, which I think will be very easy if you distribute all this subsidy through various associations.
Well, by experience reporting the sector over the years, I've noticed that the farmers, a lot of these associations are also fragmented. And that is a problem. And then when ministers or top government officials come in, they try to bring in, superimpose the people they want to work with. If, for instance, I'm coming from state X, I want to make sure that the national president of maize or whoever is coming from that place. You can't run the system that way. You need to deal with the right people. And most time too, we don't even have accurate data of the people that we want to deal with them. And there is no how you will plan well when you don't have the data. You check the statistics that have been thrown up in the sector. Some of the, even government officials, you see them citing FAO statistics of a country that you are a top government official. I mean, I find it very insulting. You find government officials citing World Bank statistics about Nigeria.
IMF.
So even within the country, we relied on statistics by some of those international bodies. So what are we doing? So ideally, we should be able to have a structure where wherever you are coming from, there is no how you fall into that structure. You know, when I was in Kenya, for instance, I look at the tea producers. Government was able to organize them in such a way that almost every tea farmer in that country belonged into that association. And what is the job of government? Is to ensure that they function well, whatever they are producing, they have a market. Government goes as far as Europe to create the enabling environment for those people to be able to say. And that's why Kenya is one of the best tea producing countries, not just in Africa. Even if you go to the European market, they have to package their products.
Very, very present.
Government must participate in this. You must not do it. But over the years, I mean, we are talking about tractors. And in the last 10 years that I've been covering this sector, each time a new minister comes in, they are talking about tractor. You see MOU being signed. It's either with Brazil, John Deere, Mahindra,
Turkey
and all of that.
Yeah.
On the ground, what is on the ground?
Absolutely. Nothing to show for it.
So it's a huge problem.
Indeed, a very huge one. Let me quickly get to Mr. Oyeleke. I'm told I have just 3 minutes left for us to wrap up the conversation. He mentioned tractor, which is very, very critical. Of course, do we think our farmers, as presently constituted, has what it takes to maintain tractors? Talking about mechanized farming.
Mechanized farming,
and of course, the president is saying that he is expecting 2,000 tractors.
Yeah, because I will tell you that we don't even have enough tractor in the system. Let's not talk about we are still expecting, because why we're having most of a problem in production is that you find out that our mechanized farming is very low. The practice that we're doing, and that is why we are preaching Agric Smart Climate this year, just to make sure that this mechanized farming is more of than ever before. Because what is the problem, the challenges that the small-scale farmers are facing is tractorization, is how to prepare the land preparation, which is one of the key in agriculture. But when you find out that the way we're preparing our land is very poor, and that is why those small-scale farmers, the small-scale farmers have challenges when it comes to food production. So Nigeria should see, I think the federal government to see how they can able to improve, more on this technology, on mechanized farming, so that the food for 2025 will be more sufficient, and they will not have decrease of raw material for other industrial producing company that want to process their food too.
All right, there, a very good one there. Vincent, let me just give you 30 seconds for us to wrap up. What do you expect in 2025 in 30 seconds? If you can do that in less than 30 seconds.
Okay, thank you very much. I expect more funding in terms of even subsidizing the input, because right now, input is a major problem. Government needs to talk to fertilizer producers and see how they can intervene in that sector to bring down the prices.
Indeed.
You know, because without that, it will be difficult for them to, you know, have good yield.
All right, Mr. Oyeleke, in 30 seconds.
In 30 seconds, thank you very much. We need to talk more on agriculture. I want to thank Daily Trust TV for what they'll be doing on agriculture. We're reading more to educate our youth, the women, the people in agriculture to go into agriculture more, to increase the food for everybody to have food in 2015 this year, and see how our research institution can bring good new seed for us to increase our yield. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, gentlemen. Oyeleke Bola, the National President, Tomatoes and Orchard Producers Association of Nigeria. Most thank you for your time. Vincent Yusuf is my colleague, Daily Trust Agri Correspondent. I'm most thanking for your time as well.
It's a pleasure to be part of the program.
With that is a wrap on the show today. We'll be back again tomorrow. I am Yusuf Akogu.